everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet my ladder headband. This is the one that I'm wearing today. It's a great headband because it's a little bit thicker than a regular headband, but not quite as wide as an ear warmer, so it's the best of both worlds. It's the perfect headband for a cool morning or a cool evening walk with the dogs. Now, this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make a headband like this, you're going to need 2 strands of any medium weight yarn or 1 strand of a chunky 5. This one here is made with Red Heart Colorscape, and this is some yarn I had left over from a previous project, and I used it to make this great headband, and now I can wear it with the cowl because it's made out of the same yarn. For today's demonstration though, I'm going to be using the Chic sheep from Red Heart that was designed by Marley Bird. And I'm going to be using 1 strand of the purple and 1 strand of the gray. And you only need about 2 ounces for this headband. Now, like I said, you can use 2 strands of any medium weight yarn or 1 strand of a chunky number 5. You're also going to need a couple of buttons, and I've got these 2 grayish buttons that I'm going to use for my headband today. We're going to be stitching with a J hook, and the J hook is a 6.00 millimeter crochet hook. You're going to need your scissors, and then you'll also need a needle for sewing your buttons on and weaving in those ends. Now I'm going to be using both strands of yarn held together to crochet my ear warmer headband. We're going to begin with a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 4. We're going to yarn over, go in that 4th chain from the hook, and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and just go through the 1st loop. Now we're going to yarn over, go through the 2nd 2, yarn over, and go through the 3rd 2. And what we're doing is called the foundation double crochet. If you're going to make your headband the same size as mine, which is a youth to adult size, you'll need to stitch 50 foundation double crochets. And this is important to do this stitch here because it gives the edge a nice stretchy band. But if you don't care to do a foundation double crochet, you can always chain and then stitch double crochets in the chain for the same amount that you need. Now, to adjust the pattern, you will do 2 foundation double crochets per inch. To make it smaller, you'll subtract 2 per inch. To make it bigger, you'll add 2 per inch. Alright, so let's keep going with our foundation double crochet. We're going to yarn over. We're going to go in this chain that we made, pull up a loop, again yarn over and only go through the 1st loop. Then we'll yarn over, go through the next 2 loops, not the first, yarn over and go through those last 2 loops. And so when we're doing the foundation double crochet, we're basically making the chain and the double crochet at the same time. Yarn over, go through those chains that we made, pull up a loop, yarn over, just go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over, and go through the next 2. And you can already see it makes a nice stretchy band. So I'm going to continue with my foundation double crochets until I have 50 stitches. All right, just to make sure that you understand the foundation double crochet, yarn over, go through that chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and only go through that first chain. Yarn over, go through the next 2 loops, yarn over, and go through the last 2 loops. Your foundation stitch made. Oops, I grabbed the extra loop. There we go. When you're working with 2 strands, you got to really pay attention. Make sure you don't grab the wrong loops. All right, I'll walk you through one more. Yarn over, go through the chain, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through the first loop, chain made. Yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over, and go through the next 2, the double crochet made. So you made your chain and your double crochet. And we'll do this for 50 stitches or for as many stitches as you need. Once you've stitched as many foundation double crochets as needed, we're going to chain 3 and turn. In row 2, the chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across. So we'll start in the next double crochet and just stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across. The number of your stitches will not change. Whatever your foundation row number, like ours is 50, it will not change for the next few rows or all the rows of the project until we put the end on. So mine has 50, so I'm going to have 50 double crochets in row 2. 1 double crochet in each double crochet across. I've completed that row of just regular double crochets. I'm going to chain 3 and turn. All right, so now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and our chain 3 again counts as 1 double crochet, so that gives us 2 double crochets at the beginning of our row. We're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next double crochet and double crochet in the next stitch, and this is going to give us that ladder effect. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. See how that looks like a ladder? Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. And we'll do this all the way across this row till we reach the last 2, and then we'll double crochet in the last 2 stitches, so we have 2 double crochets on the end. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, all the way across. So once you finish this row of double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 all the way across, and then you place 2 double crochets in those last 2 stitches, we're going to chain 3 and turn. And now we're going to stitch a double crochet in each of the double crochets and in each of the chain 1 spaces. Our chain 3 again counts as our first double crochet, so we'll double crochet in that next double crochet. There we go. And then we'll double crochet right in that chain 1 space. Then we'll double crochet in the double crochet, and then double crochet right in that next chain 1 space. And this is the way that this row, row 4, will work. Double crochet in the chain 1 space, and double crochet in the double crochet. Repeat all the way across. And this is going to give us a nice solid row of double crochets. Double crochet in the chain 1 space, and double crochet in the double crochet all the way across. I finished this row of a solid double crochet. We're going to chain 3 and turn our work. And for this last row, we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet across. Again, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and then I'll stitch 1 double crochet in each stitch across. And then we'll show you how to do the single crochets and finish up our ear warmer, headband, or headband ear warmer. Chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in each stitch across. So we finished these rows up through row 5, and now we're going to stitch the single crochets on the end to finish up our headband. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work down this end, and we need to place 10 single crochets along this end. And this can be a little confusing because we don't really have stitches to stitch in. So what we're going to do is we're going to stitch in the sides of those stitches. And this is where you're going to have to kind of understand where to put your stitches without having a stitch to put it in. And what I try to do is go in the sides of those stitches. Here's 1 single crochet, and just sort of fill it across. There's 2, and I think, okay, so here's the middle, so I need to have 5 and then 5 more, and that kind of helps me make them even. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, 8, 9, and 10. Looks like I got an extra loop there. Let's get that. There we go. And there's my 10. All right, so now I have 10 single crochets across the bottom. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And now I'm going to place 1 single crochet in each of those 10 single crochets. We'll go right in this first stitch because our chain 1 does not count as a single crochet. chain 1, and turn. And this, what we're doing right here, is the little band where our buttons are going to sit. So we've done our next row, so we need to do 4 more rows. This is the finished of row 5, row 6, and we need to do row 7, row 8, row 9, and row 10 for 4 more rows of 1 single crochet in each single crochet across. You need to have a total of 6 rows of the single crochets. And then we're going to take the end of our headband and put it together. And we're going to slip stitch it closed. We'll go in this side and then in that first stitch on this side and slip stitch that closed. And we don't have stitches to go into on this side, so we do sort of the same thing that we did when we started the single crochets on this side. You want to make sure that you go through stitches on the sides and not holes, because you don't want those holes pulling on your headband when you're wearing it, or you'll have little holes and it won't look pretty. Now take your time on this portion. It may take you a couple of seconds, but it's worth it for a nice, neat project. Look, I've got 2 more. There we go. Whoops. Again, I've got an extra loop on there, so let's get that through. There we go. Our last stitch. Tie off, and we'll weave those in with our needle, and I'll go ahead and do that later. I'll show you how to do that after a little bit. Now this is the inside of your headband, so we're going to turn it over, and what I like about stitching it this way is you get just a little bit of a line there, and to me it resembles when you fold it over. But I have trouble when I do them where I fold them over and button them, that pulls on the buttons. And so I like doing it this way so that it gives the appearance that it has a flap without the flap. And so the last thing we need to do is add our buttons. And I picked out these 2 sort of rusty gray ones. And I'm going to use just a strand of the gray yarn and my needle. And remember, these buttons are not going to be unbuttoned and buttoned back and forth, so they're just for decoration. So we're going to center the 2 of them. Make sure when you're sewing them on that you go through stitches and not holes, because you don't want those threads to get pulled through. All right, I'm going to pull that just a little. I'm going to leave that so I can weave that in later, and go ahead and stitch that a couple more times so it stays put. There we go. Pulled my thread a little bit. All right, there's one. And I'm going to put the other one underneath. And so rather than cutting my thread, I'm going to go ahead and take this tail and tie a knot. You can see I'm tying 3. It's kind of a thing I do. I like to tie 3. And then I'm going to go through some of these stitches back here, just so my thread's not sticking up. And put on my next button. Again, I'm going to try to go through stitches. There we go. Try to line that up nicely. There's my 2 buttons. I'll go to the back and kind of weave that in some of those stitches and just go right back to that first button. And guess what? I'm going to make a couple knots again. And this is where your fabric glue or your fray check can really come in handy. If you're worried that that knot is not going to hold, you can put a little dab on there. And remember, the fabric glue can go through the wash, and the fray check can as well. Now I need to take my needle and weave these ends in, but this is the way that your ladder headband will look. And that's how easy it is to make the ladder headband ear warmer. Just think of all the possibilities in colors of yarns and buttons to make all kinds of wonderful headband ear warmers.